All right, welcome back, guys and gals. Uh, Midgard, you guys have successfully defeated the Gubahali.
Arbaldi.
Gubahali.
Ghirardelli.
The Gabagoo.
The,
Gibraltar.
the Gobblegoo. A large, invisible, or chameleon-like alligator. You thought, and it was huge too. Huge alligators themselves are a problem, but ones that could also sleep soundly on top of a cart full of stones and large and small stones, without really being noticed, was. You could tell that was probably easily why they managed to wipe out the remaining hobgoblins -1 at the camp. You have protected and prevented any further problems to Griffin Tower Prime, we'll call it, because you do remember that there are 6 other towers sprinkled out throughout the Margreve forest as part of the trading network of merchants for anyone passing through on their way up to Doresh or Morgau, or the Rothenian Plain over to the east, the Magdar Kingdom to the south, or the Iron Crags, going through the Margrave Forest to get to the Iron Crags to the west. Just as it has taken you 4 days to get to Griffin Tower, it will take you the same time back. Before we get to the adventuring itself, I want to cover any sort of leftover breadcrumb tidbit pieces related to the Griffin Tower and Lyland, Moss, all that kind of stuff. One in particular that I can remember, because my memory is sort of okay, is Leofston, you're going to probably spend downtime now that you're getting paid to, once you get the exchange and all that stuff done in Zobeck, you're going to probably go back at some point.
Yes, I would like to buy the robe of useful items.
Okay. Well, then in that case, we'll save that for when we get into each person's downtime. That is, if there is downtime. Perhaps maybe something so dire has happened that you immediately wish to spring into action.
Uh-oh.
Or it could just be a Tuesday. Who knows? Time-wise, remember, it was the 4th of Harvesttide when you got to the Griffin Tower, and obviously we had all of these encounters with the Hobgoblin waves and the Guhabahabahabahrebidi. And so you would have left the Griffin Tower Prime on the 5th of Harvesttide. Seeing as how it takes you 4 days to travel back to Zobeck, you will have made it back by Voland Tuesday, the 9th of Harvesttide. So I will just make a note that you guys return to Zobeck from Griffin Towers on the calendar, so you should be able to see that. Okay. Let me, since you all have been rested up, none of you have any ailments or anything of that nature, other than what you usually do. So let's go ahead and, there's 6 of you guys now, so let's...
Did we have a minute for question?
Sure.
You had asked if we had questions following up breadcrumby stuff. Are Lyland and them staying there? Or are they coming back to Zobeck?
Oh, Lyland and them stay at the Griffin Tower.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, they need to be there in case other travelers come through. They could be able to continue their prosperity and selling their merchant wares. But I will say you've made a impactful impression on them, making sure that they are better defended, and perhaps if room allocated in the budget, Lylan might spring for having a couple more guards. You know, that's pretty important.
Just thought.
Yeah.
He also would encourage it if his opinion was asked.
And feel free, like I said, if there are questions, you can interrupt me for sure. We'll go ahead and have everyone roll initiative, and we'll go in the order in which initiative is rolled for explaining what you may encounter or see out there, with the exception of one particular individual.
But was it trouble?
I just rolled the highest initiative I've ever rolled with Poppy.
Gotta love it.
13. Let's go.
Okay. So, you guys head back the same way that you did, as it is familiar to you, and it is the main road back to Zobeck through the Margreve forest. There are many pathways that lead off to other various things that most of you that don't normally live here would have no clue exist within this massive forest. But Sin, as you guys are wandering back, tell me something that tell me something that you encounter, whether that is a fight or if that is a strange occurrence, a particular mysterious individual, what have you.
Sin finds a group of kobold children in underneath of a log. They're lost.
Okay.
And he helps them find their mother or father, parents.
Okay. Very good. It is a little rare as far as in the forest itself, but I mean kobolds make underground tunnels and such all the time. And so you happen to know that there are some, maybe in the distance of the main road, there are some veins or legs of the Black Hills that still reach all the way in your direction, and you do happen to help them find their way home. Sin, I'll also let you know that obviously looking through the crates at the camp, you obviously helped find more of the loot that you are able to sell that you are bringing with you, as well as a lot of foodstuffs in the form of rations. 100 rations to be exact, 200 pounds worth. And as far as that will help with your intention of providing them to the less fortunate and perhaps monetarily downtrodden in Zobeck. Is that... correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was your intent.
Yes.
Okay. Very nice. Prudence. What do you particularly recall from this voyage back home?
Oh, I don't know how you could have forgotten it. It was beautiful.
It was.
We settled down to camp for the night, and we saw this warm glow peeking through the trees. Prudence led a few of the curious towards it, wanting to make sure it wasn't camplight from some sort of ambush. And when they parted the branches and brush, there was a hill, and on top of that hill was a giant oak tree. And dancing all around it were fireflies. And we found that the closer we got, the warmer we felt. And this tree ended up restoring hit points.
Very good. So as you probably spent, I'm sure you probably didn't just look at it and going, okay, now I'm back to full health. I'm gonna leave. You guys probably spent some time there for sure.
Oh yeah, maybe Tendi pulled out her. You have a loot, right, girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Tendi pulled out their loot, and we all just kind of sat under the stars and danced with the fireflies.
That was, I mean, that is, I don't know how anybody could have forgotten that.
Tendi didn't forget.
Very nice. That is certainly one of the wonders of the Margreve Forest. Now, whether or not it's up to your character individually to think if that is something that was just a random occurrence, if that is a permanent spot or something like that. But at least you will not forget the one night that you could not believe your eyes when 10 million fireflies
God damn it, George.
lit up the
God.
world as you fell
Damn it.
asleep.
Wired sounds.
And you got health back from 10 million hugs.
Kelly does not feel well, and you're making him subject to these terrible puns.
Yeah, well, he wasn't here last time, so I gotta make up for lost ground. Alright. Very nicely done. Prudence, so you were looking for something mechanical to bring back to Rabba, correct?
Yeah, I want to get something mechanical or something that's of interesting knowledge, like a dusty old tome, or just something that she, with her limited knowledge of what the goddess of Rava is about, would like
Okay.
as an offering.
So, unfortunately, hobgoblins didn't seem to have anything mechanical in the camp, nor any schematics as they likely burned up into ash during the fire. However, you find something rather interesting. You find, during your search of mechanical items, a satchel. And it's a familiar satchel.
Familiar.
Mm-hmm.
What about it is familiar?
You would say, at least by make, size, shape, that this is very similar to the satchel that you had found hidden behind a tapestry at Citadel Freyunder with the cultists.
With the cultists. Fascinating.
Assuming that you check inside, because Prudence is a curious person to some degree. You find a mask. This mask is silver and smooth with really just the eyes cut out of it. Closest thing I could relate it to would be Vega's mask from Street Fighter.
Hmm.
There are no markings inside of the mask at all. It is simply just a, like, you would think it's silver, but it may be a combination. It might be tin, highly polished tin that gives it a silvery look, and obviously keeps it lightweight as well. But your guess, after pondering it maybe a night or two on your way back, is that you didn't quite see a leader necessarily among the cultists, as the one that got away was obviously more capable than the standard cultists that you fought against. But you imagine that if you were to see somebody wearing this mask, that and the mask and the cult have a direct correlation, and that whoever's wearing a mask could be an influential or at least a leader type figure.
Yeah, this is basically an indicator of a wraith, you're saying.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Nothing else in the satchel, but you have a satchel now and a mask.
Prudence will keep it, and at the arrival of home, she will hang it up on the wall next to the mask that belonged to the kobold. So now she's got 2 masks on her wall.
Yeah.
3 if you count hers.
Yeah. I mean, I collect ball caps for no apparent reason. You collect masks.
Especially from the dead.
Very good. I do want to backtrack for a second. Sin. Because of your deeds, the people of certain citizens of Zobeck are going to look upon your act a little more favorably. So you gain +1 status.
Nice.
Way to go!
Heck yeah.
Yes, bud.
All right. We shall go to Tendi.
So, surprising no one, Tendi just fucking dipped one day and got lost. And it was when everybody was stopped to have lunch, and they turned around and Tendi was just not there anymore. And it turns out Tendi got very distracted and wandered away with a sketchbook because they saw a bunny. And so they followed this bunny into the woods, and they ended up in this little clearing that was full of it was like a fey mushroom circle with different colored mushrooms that were all glowing, and then these weird, very pretty rocks, and then these bunnies, and they were all kind of like hanging out together. Like they weren't trying to eat the mushrooms, which is weird, but they were like taking care of them. It was really sweet. And whoever it was that found Tendi asked Mara to tell them about these bunnies and these mushrooms and a little bit about the forest. And they used their sketchbook to try and draw pictures of these creatures that they can bring this story home to their dad.
Very good.
The bunnies were like obsessed with these purple crystals. It was really weird.
Strange. You were wanting to find out information about hobgoblins. And you also...
I shared that information.
Yeah. Well, hold on. We'll get there. I told you in advance a little bit, but... so in addition to Prudence taking an Iron Shadow mask from one of the monks, you also have an Iron Shadow mask.
Yes, I did take it.
So... You searched for information regarding the hobgoblins, and while there wasn't necessarily any biographical information going, here's how hobgoblins live, you do, however, gain a respectable insight to their methods and ways of life. And you believe that this information could be of use to not only your friends, but also to scholars, and maybe even to those of more defensive capabilities in the city of Zobeck. You gain +2 to history checks involving hobgoblins.
Cool.
If you look at your skills tab, you'll see that I have added history hobgoblins to your skill with a additional +2.
Cool.
So, now I know you say you share this information with your allies, but that all they've heard is I share this information with my allies. Would you want to share that information right now?
I would love to share that information. I've been slowly scrolling and trying to pull it up.
Yeah, I know. We talk way too much on Discord.
We talk too much. I don't know why you talk to me too much. It's so weird. Okay, so, I'm skimming it to see the one important thing. I found a journal that talked about one of the hobgoblins who was suspected of rebellion, and I learned about their training and how those who fall just get killed. Its weakness is not a thing that they do. They worship a great old god, and I don't know how to pronounce its name.
Maglubiet.
And Maglubiet taught them the shadowy secrets of walking between the shadows. But more importantly, and Tendi absolutely stresses this because they're very scared of the idea, their god taught them how to conceal their identities using illusions. to confuse their enemies, so they could hypothetically be someone else, the same way she points out that Prudence became one of them. They have the same ability. And so that's why I was worried as to whether or not we accidentally let one go. Also, there are militaristic spellcasters called, in one of the Hobgoblin societies, called the Devastators.
Well, that's a dope fucking name.
I learned a lot of shit. I was trying to pick through it. Those are the big cool ones.
Yo, what's cracking? I'm a devastator. No, give me your money. Give me your lunch money. Yeah, it is scary that these, and that was particularly for the Iron Shadow monk. They are assassins and kind of a interracial police for ensuring that there is nobody who is trying to scheme and rebel. But also, in terms of defending their own kind, they are quite capable fighters. And yeah, at this point, really, anybody could be an Iron Shadow monk. I mean, I could be.
Jordan, quick, tell me your middle name.
Barnabas. Oh, no.
I don't trust him.
Oh.
There's an imposter.
I am writing, by the way, your guys' summaries for your trip, I am writing in the calendar where you guys should be able to see it, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mara.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Do you, if you do not have a particular thing that you've encountered, I have one for you.
I came up with one.
I would love to hear it.
Yeah,
Oh, we're doing both, but.
So, one day when we were like walking back, we were on our way back. Mara heard a noise, kind of distress that she found curious. So she kind of let the group know that she was going to be right back. And she took off into the forest, and there was an elk who had gotten its antlers like tangled in the lower branches of a tree, and was really scared and kind of acting out. So she kind of soothed it a bit and then was able to untangle it, and it like cut itself, and it struggled to release itself, so she kind of patched up its wounds and then helped it to go.
And it was caught in, what was it?
It's the lower branches of a tree. Like it had gotten its antlers tangled up.
Very good. I'm sure the elks and other four-legged hooved animals of the forest appreciate a little bit of help from time to time, especially with those with opposable thumbs. All right. Well, question for you, Mara.
Yep.
The green log that Moss had given you, due to a gut feeling or some sort of intuition, he wasn't exactly sure what it was or why it was that he wanted to gift this to you, but the green log, and green meaning from sort of a freshly fallen healthy tree, but obviously not able to replant itself. Would you have used that at any point in time, or perhaps the wine during any of your camping evenings?
So I think when she ran into the forest, it was like dusk to help the elk. And it took her long enough that by the time she was done, it was sufficiently dark. So she remembered that he had told her it was good for like lighting fires, like it was wood and it could be used for lighting fires. So she lit it as a torch to lead her way back.
Ooh. Okay. So you use the log as a torch, and at first it certainly acts as a torch. By the time you get back to the camp, it's getting down to where the actual wood itself is burning, and the smell is actually rather sweet. If you had smelt the wine or anything like that, they sort of match in similarity to smell, and it now, while not quite incense, it is a very pleasant smell. And by the time that you reach back to the camp where everybody is, everybody, including yourself, would be surprised to see that whatever it was, each of you were paying attention to, whether that be to one another, to a book, or an item, or the task of whatever it was you were performing. None of you seemed to realize that a woman with knee-length blonde hair and natural large leaves as sort of a not dress, but more of a top and skirt, and leaf-like boots, was sitting there with a empty goblet. And Mara, you're probably the first person to see her. No one else has seemed to notice yet, but the pointed ears coming out from beneath the long strands of bright, sunny golden hair. She looks at you as if expecting you and just smiles and waves.
Mara looks a little confused, but she gives a slight wave back.
And a light breeze goes by that carries with it some varied kind scents and some freshly fallen leaves and maybe a few dried berries and such along with it. And that's what gets everybody else's attention. You all can see this woman sitting on a stump that nobody was occupying, and it's a wonder you've never heard her come in. She didn't say anything to any of you. She seems rather pleased, but is currently holding a wine glass that is kind of just slumped over her shoulder right now, and she, after acknowledging Mara, and you hear Mara enter back in through the brush, she begins to look at all of you, but mostly pays attention to Mara.
Austin was like chopping firewood or something. He immediately like lifts it up, like lifts his axe up practically.
You lift your axe up?
Like, not to strike, but just be like, got this.
She'll look over and go, "Good evening, Mara."
Good evening.
I see you've lit my present.
Did you give this to me? I'm fairly certain that Lyland?
Moss.
It Lyland?
Moss.
Moss gave this to me.
Oh, of course he's the one that gave it to you, but how do you think he got it?
From the wood?
You're not wrong.
Oh, okay.
You all might not have seen it, but Mara here had just rescued one of the young elks caught not too long from here. Well,
That was so nice of her. Oh, it sounds like Mara.
Oh, that must be why you ran off.
Mara bows her head.
if you wouldn't mind my company, I don't need to be here all night, but perhaps you can put that that log on the fire, and we can all enjoy a, well, I don't know how comparable it will be compared to the fireflies, but well, I can certainly try my best.
Okay. Mara steps forward and puts the log in the fire, and then stands closer to her, but not like super close. She's still a little wary of what's going on.
You're certainly wary, but I would say you sense some sort of, I mean, not a recognition. You've never seen this person before in your life, but you feel a sense of familiarity.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn to like Leofston and kind of like motion my hand for him to put the axe down.
His lips kind of purse, but he follows and sets it back on the fire pile he was making.
I was hoping I would enjoy and be part of your evening conversation so far. The last couple of nights, you have all been rather enjoyable to watch, and it's so talkative. And she kind of looks over at Poppy and Tendy a little bit. If you don't mind my company, she stops and she goes, "You probably don't know who I am."
No. Are you a princess? You look like a princess.
She blushes.
Mara has pretty friends.
Thank you. That is a kind compliment. I guess we can be friends if you'll allow me. Mara, my dear, have you ever heard of perhaps my brother, Poravit? And that's when at least the familiarity sort of clicks in. If Poravit is her brother, then this has to be Yorilla. And the two of them combined are, well, they go by many names, some of which are more popular than others, but such names as the Green Gods, Father Forest and Mother Field, the Fair Gods, the Keepers of Sowing and Harvest, Gods of Fertility, Forest, and Wine. They are one of the primary gods and goddesses of the Margreve forest. And they, for some reason, know you very well.
Yes, I'm very familiar with your brother and yourself. I've heard many tales. I'm not sure how you know me.
Well, introductory wise, I am Yorilla. I am one of the goddesses of this forest. It is a pleasure to meet all of you.
Prudence is turning pale.
It's a pleasure.
Austin looks really confused, but nods anyway, like nods politely.
Tendy
Poppy?
has not met real God before.
You have not?
Tendy is so excited.
She thinks for a moment.
Tendy was not told who they met.
I know. And she goes, "I'll have to have a talk with my brother on that one." I believe you have. All of you, in fact. Well, not Mara. This would be the first time we've officially met face to face. And she looks over at Poppy.
I-
Yeah. You're fine.
Am I supposed to curtsy?
You don't have to.
I'm gonna. I feel weird if I don't.
She looks and goes, "Nice form."
Thank you.
Prudence sort of shoots up to her feet and she says, "Can we roll that back a minute? You said we've all met gods." And she looks at each and every one of you.
Hasn't everybody?
Oh, you have to forgive me. Sometimes in our communications, if there's one thing that we like to do, it is to certainly boast and brag. And word gets around. Bad gas travels fast in a small town. I was fairly certain, at least from what Porovit told me, was that I would have been the last one. I was trying to get here sooner, but there's been sort of an issue I have been tending to prayers on. But yes, all of you, in fact, have at this point, if I'm not mistaken, have met a god or goddess, depending.
I was told not to tell, but you're the one that told. So am I good? I mean, I'm good.
I guess that does kind of put you in the clear, yes.
I was so nervous.
I mean, we will say things, and many people will take them as law. But we are not mortal. We don't make the laws. We have our own whims. Oh, I know I gave you some of that wine. Could I perhaps... Can I get some?
Yes, of course. Mara reaches into her bag or pulls the wine bottle off the cart.
Sure.
Wherever she kept it.
Prudence is perturbed that everybody's so calm, and she asks a question to the goddess again. I'm sorry, I forgot her name already. What was it?
Yarilla.
Yorilla?
Yarilla. Yarilla.
Not my Rilla. Your Rilla.
Goddess Yorilla, was it the same god that we met? I mean, obviously you are different than the one that I met.
Oh, I'd hope so.
Of the others?
You'll have to forgive me. I'm incredibly parched. And she holds out her glass and, like, gives you a warm smile, but literally waits until she gets some wine in her glass. Mara, I assume you busted out.
Mara pours wine in her glass and pours herself a rather large one as well.
So you both have rather large glasses, and you find that after you're done pouring yours, you would expect an empty bottle, but there is clearly more in there.
Where are you all getting these crazy glasses from?
Is this never-ending wine? What a great gift.
Then pulled out his bottle of whiskey because he's trying to figure some shit out.
We all are.
Underwater bottle.
No thanks. I need something stronger right now.
Does anyone have Kool-Aid?
Prudence kind of gestures to you, Sen, like, can I please have just one?
Of course.
Yeah. I did find it rather odd. Before I answer your question, that it wasn't really something. Perhaps maybe it's not as important to mortals anymore. Normally, when we are not often, when we do speak to, our priests or the occasional mortal that in dire need that sends a prayer that we answer, they end up going and telling everybody that they've spoken to one of the gods. It's intriguing that so many of you have all been with each other for a while and no one's really said anything.
They also look at Prudence.
He has been avoiding your gaze this entire time. You are in trouble, mister.
I'm very sorry.
Oh god, what is it, Tuesday again? Oh. After she takes a drink, she goes, "Thank you, my dear. Prudence, was it?
Yes, Lady Yarilla.
Your concern, could you state that again for me, please?
She nods. I was curious if all of us had met the same gods.
Oh, no. No offense. Since you're here in the forest, I mean, there are many forests, obviously. But Margrave, being the oldest one, is often, I wouldn't call it a home, but it is one that we frequent quite often. And since I figured you were here and you were looking from the ways of it, you were on your way out. I wanted to catch you before you all left. No, I believe each one of you would have met your own. Right, you haven't talked about it. I keep forgetting. My apologies.
No, do go on.
If she smiles a bit. If I'm the last one, and you all haven't talked about it, then I'm sure that this might come as a shock. Mara, are you standing?
Yeah.
You better be sitting there.
You might want to sit down. I don't want you spilling the wine. Not that it would go out, but.
Okay, Mara sits down.
Do you recall a lot about your youth, your parents, so to say?
Oh, are you talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
No. My clan doesn't have parents. We are, as a family, we're not all necessarily blood related, but we are all family. So it's never been a parent-child thing.
Quite true. And from what I recall, it's not that you don't cast out those that have family, but for many of you, you all have sort of gathered together in sort of a necessity and general camaraderie, and honestly, that's what a lot of the folk and creatures of the Margrave do. So it is to be expected. The centaurs themselves mostly reside in either the Rothenian plains, or they will come around the mountain to Magdar, the kingdom down there, if that's what it's still called. But, on occasion, those who are seeking shelter or cover from perhaps more aerial threats. We are neighbors after all, and they come into the forest relatively often. They don't go far. They know the dangers that have taken a few of their own more ambitious types, but well, you were certainly left with a blessing to that group, and I'm glad to see that they seem to have raised you well from when you were born.
I would say so.
I don't know how to properly. I don't know if the correct way to say things with all the words that most of your priests or scholars write, but I'm your mother. And
Mara
so,
kind of Mara kind of chokes on the. She was trying to take a sip to act casual. She kind of like chokes and coughs on it a little bit, but she recovers and my what?
And so to answer, and she continues, and so to answer Prudence's question, you all would have met your respective birth gods. If I'm not mistaken.
Leosim leans into Sin with his mug and like looks expectantly at his bottle.
Yes, of course.
Thanks.
She
So
pulls.
you're saying
And Sin takes a massive swig. Just gulp.
so if I'm understanding this correctly, we're all descendants of gods.
Yes.
How did we all end up together? Yes, Moira pours her wine. More wine.
She pulls out a thin bamboo-like straw and just.
Leosin is looking between the goddess's leg and Mara's legs, and the goddess's leg and Mara's leg.
Are we gonna talk about the elephant in the room?
The
We gotta
horse
talk
in the
about
room.
Minotaur in the room.
Hey.
Oh, that's right. You wanted to learn about. There's X chromosomes and Y chromosomes.
Oh shit, is my dad a horse?
Andy is already confused the minute that chromosomes came out.
So, I can tell by. See, I feel like I've already revealed too much. Perhaps you can all explain to each other. You've spent all your time together. Why should it be me that should kind of break the news to everybody? Plus, I have to pat myself on the back. This wine is absolutely delicious.
Because your voice is pretty and we like to hear you talk.
Thank you. My brother doesn't like it, but
It's a sibling thing.
It is possible some of us may already have done that.
Leosin takes a big drink.
Prudence is keeping secrets. All of us are keeping secrets.
this wine tastes like tea now. Oh no.
Mara hasn't kept any secrets.
Yeah, really, you're
Alright.
like the
That is
most. It makes sense that your mom would be up front like you are, like
Yeah.
Mara is.
Yeah.
She's like, "What up, bitches? I'm your mom."
She's like the only
Give me
one
that
that
wine.
came in front of everybody.
And she's a wine mom.
I love it.
I love her. She's
You're
ideal.
so cool.
You gotta love the wine mom.
Tendy is a dragon.
What?
That one's quite shocking. I mean, sip sip.
I am apparently a princess. Tendy knew it. You knew it? You remember our conversation where you said one of us is a secret royal? Yes, yes, yes. I didn't know it was me. It was a secret from everyone, including me.
She immediately looks at Leofston.
Leosin sighs.
Look?
You remember? No. You remember the cliff where he kind of just like makes a walking motion with his fingers?
Well, where you were gonna jump off, and I said do a flip. Did I say do a flip, or was that it just in my head?
I heard Tendy say in a very inappropriate
Oh, Tendy said fuck.
that one. I had a vision where that's my father.
Here's your dad.
Or
Which one's that again?
wait, he
Lightning! Lightning, lightning, right.
God of Thunder.
Urilla kind of looks over and starts to gaze upon Sin for a moment.
Then he was looking down, and now he looks up, noticing he's being watched.
Yeah, you can feel her eyes on you. Not in a judgmental stare, just kind of a Aw. You should try some wine.
Okay.
She hands you her cup.
Then takes a small amount.
It's the best wine you've ever tasted. If this is truly an unlimited bottle of wine, like Olive Garden's unlimited soup and salad breadsticks, then this is the sweetest and most fruitful wine. There is almost a hint of every possible fruit imaginable, but not all at once. It's like there's the initial taste, then there's just the whole entire experience of being in your mouth, and then there's the aftertaste, and it goes through the whole thing.
Does it taste like I want it to taste?
Exactly.
Nice. Sin takes a little more.
Okay, hold on.
It was very, very good. Where did you get it?
I made it. We are the gods of fertility, forests, and wine, and I feel like it would be quite terrible if someone made a better wine than the gods of forest, fertility, and wine. But perhaps you can someone get this poor man a glass. Mara, yes, your husband, or no, your father.
Oh.
Your father was is a centaur. One of pretty stubborn bravery, but nonetheless, capable warrior for the Ruthenians. He found himself all those years ago in a bit of dire straits, and I just happened to finish a decades-long argument with Porovit, and figured that he should tend to the warmer climates, and I came up here to cool off, and I came across him. And while brutish and wild, and quite charming, and for a warrior more educated than most.
Mara kind of straightens up and looks a little proud to hear that her dad sounds like a stand-up guy.
Mm-hmm. And we are able to, I certainly didn't look like I normally do around him. I'm sure he probably would have impaled me upon a spear. Not that that would have done anything, but and to appeal to his greater senses.
Is he still alive?
Yes. Although I don't believe he is quite near the forefront of any sort of wars. He is, they're very nomadic. I don't know if you've ever seen the Ruthenian plain. I'm sure you all will very soon. But if you look upon it, it is an almost endless grass, like looking out upon the ocean. It is expansive. But I apologize if I perhaps maybe started a conversation that perhaps was going to eventually find its way, but you see, I think the reason why I'm a little more loose-lipped than my other, the others, is you're going to, in each of their own ways, they have made a request for a proper offering, and in return, proper recognition, so to speak.
From us?
Yes. Each and every one of you. There seems to be a again, gods don't normally interfere in the lives of mortals, but you guys are obviously an exception. Most demigods are. You certainly are not the only ones. I'd be foolish to think that those who can live for as long as we do only have sex once and then never have it again.
Ew.
Sorry. There is a growing concern among many of the different pantheons. And we are not exactly, while we are quite capable, we're not fully omnipotent. Even the wisest among us with Wotan and all of them can't quite exactly see what this is. It's sort of, how to best put it? You know of a fog. You can feel something beyond it, but you cannot see it. And that is sort of what we are faced with. And perhaps as you are able to, all of you from different gods and goddesses alike, different pantheons and as well, while some of your parents may not necessarily particularly be fond of other parents, you seem to all have forged a rather unique bond prior to the knowledge that you are all children of the gods themselves. And perhaps that will be a useful thing for all of you in your endeavors.
The strange man in the forest.
She then kind of takes a long drink as her eyebrows raise and goes into a frown afterwards. Yes, he's not very word. He doesn't have time to mince words. That is that would be the hunter, your father.
My father.
He
Okay.
didn't speak much of meeting you, but at least acknowledged that it was done.
Finn just nods.
Yeah, she doesn't seem to push the issue and turn this into a depressive episode. But the fact that you all, in fact, get along so well together, you may not know. Those of you who are more religious might, but gods tend to bicker, and even as brother and sister, my brother and I have disagreements from time to time, and that impedes a lot of progress or accomplishments. But from dragons to northerners to fae and the like, even to a dark god, you all have a mutual respect for one another and work rather well together. And that is, again, I cannot state that is something it's a luxury that the gods only dream of, but could probably never obtain.
Tendy loves Tendy's friends. But
Well.
how'd we all find each other at the same time? How'd we all end up? Was it like fate or something?
Prison.
Prison? Alcohol.
I believe that each belief has its own story of fate. And so no need to solidify why, but fortunately you are all brought together and have all done rather well so far. I will tell you though, before I leave, She kind of puts a hand on Mara's shoulder if she'll let her.
Yeah, she lets her.
This thing that we cannot foresee, it brings even the gods dread. Perhaps more so disdain, but as we can't quite interfere in the lives of mortals, you, on the other hand, can. So, while I'm not saying prepare for the worst, I would at least say that these excursions and hobgoblins and such do make a lasting impact, but I believe that circumstances themselves will grow more and more dire as you level. I mean, as you traverse across Midgard.
What'd you say? Sorry, there was a fly. I didn't hear part of that.
Yeah, the same fly flew into my mouth. I don't know what it was.
Into your mouth? Oh
How
no.
much time do we have?
Again, with not knowing, it is hard to tell. We have a feeling that whatever it is already at work. I believe the feeling that we at least can, if we can agree on anything, all the gods, we can agree that it at least feels like an undoing. And if that is in fact the feeling, and is in fact the actuality of the situation, then undoing anything sounds rather ominous for everyone.
Right.
And this undoing is why you all decided to reveal yourselves now?
Some have their reasons, yours being your golden birthday, but we have all made and agreed upon that you are to travel to the Temple of the Gods and provide an offering. I cannot say what could constitute as a valuable offering, and valuable also does not constitute monetary. But in order to really, truly become a true child of the gods, you will need these gifts in order to face these greater and greater threats.
It is understood.
What?
It's so surreal. I can't wrap my brain around it, I guess.
I'm certain it will take you many and many weeks of downtime. I mean, of
Here's that fly again.
many weeks to fully understand, and even then, only but maybe a fraction. But before I leave, I must let you know of the place you shall make this offering, the Temple of Gods. On the other side of the Black Hills, at the very base, the very farthest south, tallest peak in the Cloudwall Mountains. It is unknown to many, not known but only to a few. There is a temple near the peak. And there you will see the endless Rothenian plains to the east and south, to the large forest and marshes of Wormwood and Niemheim to the northeast. And with Morgal and Daresh at your back, you will be there and upon sunrise, as the sun crests and breaks upon the temple itself, your offering will be provided, and by the evening, you shall receive more gifts. But in the meantime, before making this journey, as we realize that it is longer than simply a jaunt into the Margreve forest, you must feel confident in what you are offering.
I
What is-
suppose asking your opinion is out of the question.
What will happen if what we're offering isn't suitable?
I believe the term was coined in Zobeck.
Don't say it. Don't say it, Jordan. It's too soon for me to scratch
Hey,
off my
yeah.
bingo card.
Candy wants to know.
It's a bunch of it's 4 words, but they've taken the first letter of each word and made a new word from it. It's quite ingenious. FOMO, that's the word.
So I mean,
Heard that that's a terrible fate.
It is the worst. I would. There is again no rush. I believe that when you are confident in your offering, that is enough to make the trek and provide the offering.
Mara nods
How-
her head.
how these ones is knowing when it is a good offering?
She takes a drink, and as she speaks, her voice continues in just a sort of a repetition of, "When you are confident, you can use that as that shall be your offering."
When do we have to leave?
When you're confident in your offering. If you have something right now you're confident in, let's go.
I understand.
I'm confident that I'm not confident.
That is unfortunately not a great answer.
I thought it was pretty neat.
Clever. But I'm pretty sure your mother has higher expectations.
The awesome lifts his jaw, and he already has one in mind.
Well, I shall take my leave. Perhaps I shall bless your journey for the remainder of your stay in the Margrave Forest. And hopefully we shall hear from, well, Mara, I should say. I'll hear from you soon. Meanwhile, we must continue to do our duties and answer the prayers of those of the great forests outside of Margrave.
Thank you, pretty Arilla.
The awesome bows his head in gratitude as well.
Poppy gives another curtsy.
Liz does something similar, bowing, as a monk does.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mara, if you run into your uncle, please tell him I'm sorry. He won't be the one to apologize first, so we must be the bigger woman and take care of things as we are wont to do.
Family drama.
Yes, of course I will do that. And she extends her hand to her mummy.
She stands up, taking your hand, and helps you back up. The log itself is burning a nice kind of light green, mixing with the yellows and oranges. And another gust of wind comes, a light gust of wind, carrying with it some more leaves. And just as soon as she was there, she is gone, leaving you all in a very awkward state of affairs.
I have
Mara
the feeling.
slams the rest of her wine.
And yes, that wine
Try.
does not end.
Sweet.
It does not count as water for purposes of not being thirsty.
I have a feeling that someone named Skylar's gonna overthink this.
The fly buzzes away, saying, "Me too."
What?
But that's part of the fun.
Oh, he swept around again just to say the second part.
Prudence pops up to her feet. I need to go train. And wanders off into the forest. You hear the crack of wood not far.
Alright. Goku goes and trains. And your night, perhaps maybe a flashback of conversations from this night could be, might be something of note. But we have to continue on.
We gotta go home.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point of all this? We can't go home, right? Poppy,
Me.
you. So you were looking for knickknacks, paddywhacks, trinkets of sorts.
Mm-hmm. Can
Medic-
I find a bone for a dog too?
Easy. Bones aplenty. You were looking for medical supplies, and you also made a sketch of the Gabagoo.
Mm-hmm. And I rolled a 17 performance for it, so it's pretty good.
You did. I wrote it down.
I wrote it down too.
Yeah. No medical supplies found besides general bandages. You scavenge what you believe are trinkets from the debris of the campsite. And here's what you find. An enormous scale that is not the Gabagoo's.
Whoa.
Perhaps from a dragon. An old chess piece made from glass.
Ooh.
A candle that you have surely by now have figured out can't be lit.
Well,
An ornate brooch of dwarven design.
Brooch.
If it's brooch, why is there two O's?
I think it's brooch in Midgard. They pronounce it brooch.
That is true. It is all about the accent.
Yeah. I will admit I say brazier incorrect from time to time, but it's brooch.
Alright, yeah.
And
Brooch.
and lastly, a black flag decorated with a dragon's skull and crossbones.
what?
Your
Pirate dragons.
Your sketch of the Gabagoo is remarkable by the many that will view it, and what do you do with it?
I put it in my book. I tuck it in there, keep it safe so I can give it to Victor later.
So that it's intended for Victor. Okay. Now, Poppy, tell me, I mean, we had fireflies and a meeting with with Wine Mom, but tell me, what's something that you guys, what you come across during your trek back to Zobeck?
Well. Walking through the forest, we find a small door built into the base of a tree. And upon tapping on the door, we discovered it was home to two sprites named Sugar and Spice.
Oh
And they offered us some of their freshly baked cinnamon bread and some great company for a bit, and we had a great time.
I love them.
I'm gonna have to see this this sugar and spice and cinnamon bread scene.
Yes.
Sugar and Spice was the name of my first pets
That ate each other?
that ate each other.
Yeah.
Both the hamsters
Oh my god.
Well, you don't.
cannibalized each other.
I
don't-
had 2 guinea pigs named Thelma and Louise.
Yeah,
They also eat each other?
No, but we didn't
Jeremiah's
have-
did?
yeah, I
No,
think
they drove a car off a cliff into a quarry.
Hey,
Amazing. I love that for them.
I'm pretty sure I've told some of you before, but mine were Batman and Robin killed Batman, and then Robin committed suicide by leaping off the top of the cage upside down.
This
Revenge,
explains
and then
so
kills.
much about my friends and my husband. This is where it all began.
Right?
I didn't name them, but I had a bunch of Chinese fighting fish. And my entirety of my 3rd and 4th grade years, I woke up to dead fish. I bought more because I was an idiot and I just kept waking up to more.
Oh
Brutality
no!
and
Did you
decay.
put them all in the same tank?
Yeah. I
And
sure
that
fucking
year, Kelly learned about
didn't know
cause and
better.
effect.
did.
I didn't have a pet. What does this say?
Kelly's like,
But you're
no,
the
Mom.
most well-adjusted out of all of us.
Kelly's
Oh
like, no.
God, I'm so sorry.
Kelly's like, Dad, we need to buy more. This is the control group.
In my defense, the pet store was in German, and we did not know the German word for Chinese fighting fish.
Very fair. Okay. And then lastly, Leofston, you were here, but you weren't here last session. So yours, and so your action was essentially, besides helping Sin with the Gabagoo, you helped loot the rest of the stuff because obviously a lot of this stuff was pretty hefty, which because of your efforts, you guys were able to get everything brought back in order to sell, which is why you guys have so much gold.
You're welcome.
Or you will.
Thank my biceps. Thank my biceps.
And so as you round it out, what is something that you've encountered, what you guys encounter on the way back?
So, on the day we got out of the forest and started heading back towards Zobeck proper, we ran into a dwarven merchant and his wife yelling at each other on the side of the road. Their cart wheel had broken, and the cart was so big and heavy that they couldn't do it on their own, and they lost their help because while paying them, they were like, we can get better shit elsewhere, you guys are annoying. So they were alone, yelling at each other, trying to get this wheel fixed, so we often joined in the argument in Dwarvish, yelling at them, but the whole time, like, while they were all yelling at each other, he helped fix the wheel, like, lifting it up for the husband while the wife hammered it in, and they were just screaming at each other the whole time. And like, and he's having a conversation like he's absolutely normal. They're just screaming and shouting. And in return, the wife parts with some fresh bread, like braided bread that's kind of like pretzel-y with salt on it, and some of the brew, which the husband wasn't happy about, but the fact they're on the road made the blow a little softer.
What are you gonna do? Drink it, Kyle? That's what got us into this mess in the first place. Listen here, woman!
That's how we got in the stitch in the first place. So,
Oh my god, that's so cute.
and as they're leaving, Leofton's like, Leofton, as he's loading up the things they parted with, that was a lovely couple.
Why were you yelling too?
That's just how Dwarvish sounds like. Though he did call my sword a whore, so we had some terse words about that.
I imagine, from what little we know, but we know little enough, when you started going through the explanation, I was like, is he going to be super detailed in this? And then Leofston just pulls a Luigi and Mario Kart and just drives by going, and doesn't help them.
He seriously thought about it, but then he also remembered that a good dwarf pays his dues, and he wanted to see what he could get out of them.
Tendi is so confused about all of this.
Well, You got pretzel bread, and I mean,
That's the best kind
And
of
beer.
That's
Pretzel bread and beer.
yeah.
Confused why he knows Dwarvish too.
Yeah.
You what?
Oh,
You had
Yeah.
no idea.
You all get to learn that he speaks Dwarvish.
very fluently and very angrily. It's very much in his nose.
Very good. Well, you guys have cleared the Margrave forest, and you do see Zobeck in the distance, or what was Zobeck. No, I'm kidding.
No, Jordan.
I was joking with Angie that like you all see in the top left of your screen, Cat Chunks dropped a nuke.
Just smoke and rubble.
You make it back to Zobeck proper, and it doesn't seem it seems quieter, but it's just because of the fact that Harvesttide was weeks ago. Like the high Midsummer Festival was a month over at this point. So anybody with extended stays at Zobeck obviously have made their way out across Midgard and across the crossroads. So it's quieter, but that doesn't really necessarily mean anything. Obviously, with it being over a week into Harvesttide, with the months of this is like the last few weeks of pretty decent, still warm, like what would be considered hot weather. It is well known that when the first of Red Leaf kind of hits, so here in about 3 weeks' time, there is a noticeable shift in the air, and while you enjoy the 2 full months of autumn, unlike we get to, it quickly descends into wintertime. Shortly after, with Rime Trail, snowfall, and deep winter being the last 3 months in this sort of mid to northern hemisphere, especially with elevation, you being surrounded by mountains. So you travel through the streets of Zobeck, the various kobold and maybe some human and goblin driven carts offering transportation services as usual. You make it clear across to the other side, the northern part of Zobeck, where the Drengskaper still lies in one piece. And as you approach, the 2 giant doors that are normally pretty much open are closed, and you see a probably the first familiar face upon arrival, and it is the trapezoid of a man, Sergeant Hendrick, sitting outside on a metal stool. It's kind of overlooking the very few passers-by in the pastures and on the dirt roads leading further into Zobeck proper.
Good day.
Who's driving, Poppy or Leofton?
Rock, paper, scissors. Let's go.
It's Boulder Parchment Shears.
Sorry, my bad. You can drive.
I'm driving.
Immersion.
So you guys approach.
Hi, Sergeant.
Yeah.
Does the salute.
He gives you a quick, seeing and recognizing you guys. He kind of gives a quick salute as he hops off and shuffles his way towards you, meeting you probably about 30 feet from the doors. He doesn't seem to be his usual self to those maybe with a passive insight of 14 or higher. And if you want to know what your passive is, just take your insight and add 10 to it.
Well, dang. Althea would know this.
Yes, she would.
Oh.
Didn't recognize us, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Hello,
say-
Sergeant.
Who? Anyone else recognize?
I think
Me?
Prudence does.
I can't tell.
Yep.
Hey, Mara would. 16? Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah. What's his vibe?
For those who were able to tell, it's something's happened, and it's not great.
Prudence.
Oh no, Ilyana rejected him.
Do
Prudence
we know
hops.
about that in canon? Or was that all like goofy jokes that we haven't actually talked about in character? I can't remember.
I think we've joked about it more often than it's actually happened, but it's probably happened. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's fair to say.
Sergeant, what's wrong?
Oh, well, he kind of tries to find words. There's been, some news we just received this morning. Not quite the best news one wants to hear, but
Did Beckett die?
Uh,
I liked him.
Beckett's still very much alive, Poppy, yes.
Okay.
I suppose, I've got good news and I got bad news.
Bad news first.
You want to hear the bad news first?
So we can get good news second.
Seems that one of your, or one of the groups that goes around and fills in, they didn't make it back.
Which group?
He names off 5 individuals that do not ring a bell, so your precious Pip, Crucian, all of them are safe.
Thank God.
Your Tanner and Elijah died?
Yeah, I figured Elijah Pin for a pretty constitutional kind of person, but I guess they bit off more than they could chew.
What mission did they go on?
I don't think it was an official one.
Oh no.
Some woman was asking about a monster attacking her place.
Oh no.
Oh,
I feel so bad.
This,
Would you rather
actions
die
have
in their place?
consequences.
What did Sin say?
Actions have consequences.
Does he mumble that under his breath, or does he say it loud enough for everybody to hear?
No, that's a joke.
Oh.
Okay. Got it. Okay. But yeah, situation's pretty dire. I don't know the state of things, but clearly whatever's out there is pretty dangerous.
I think we need a train. Let's go into the woods like Prudence did the other night.
This was a bit of different training.
Training montage.
Oh, is that what they call it these days?
Is do you know any more about what happened besides just they didn't make it?
Fortunately not. Ryder came in this morning, woke us all up. Spoke with Beckett. I was there briefly and figured I would spend some time out here making sure that, nobody came delivering more bad news.
how's Beckett?
I'd say he's a whirlwind of emotions right now. He obviously never intend people to actually die. But with the bad news also seemed to come with good news this morning. I'm trying to remember what he called her. Heather. The griffin egg decided to go ahead and hatch. So he's
You named it Heather.
Oh, I didn't name. Oh, I didn't name it. It's Beckett's pride and joy, I guess. So I kind of like it. It rhymes with feather.
It does. Whoa. Who's typing?
Daddy, did you get a typewriter? That looks impressive.
Okay. Well, Sergeant, are you going to let us in or have us stand out on the road?
Oh no, I gotta let you guys in. The doors are closed because, well, I don't know about you, but we're letting the little Griffin. We're letting them use the outside grounds, getting their bearings, learning how to walk, all that. Not able to fly yet, of course, but we just kept the door closed. We don't want it leaving.
I heard griffins are a lot like cats. You have to get in really quickly or else they'll zoom past.
This one seems pretty slow, but that's probably because it's literally only hours old.
Yeah.
Yeah, here, let me get you through. Hey, how'd you guys do?
Austin jerks his thumb at the giant head on the cart.
Wow, what is that?
I have no idea.
You know, I told you.
It's a George.
It's a Gibraltar.
It is
A
dead.
Gabagoo.
George Foreman.
It's George Foreman.
It's gold in our purses.
Oh, right. When you get inside, make sure you, if you brought anything else, you wanna stop by and say hi to Ileana, Quartermaster Ileana, I guess. He goes and begins walking over to the door.
Do you want to come see Ileana too?
No, it's fine. I think I'll stay out here. Just gonna make sure that the door stays closed. You can't underestimate a baby griffin's strength. Next thing you know, nobody sees where it went, and it opens up a door, and Zobeck doesn't need a baby griffin amongst their ranks.
Is he lying? Do you not want to come with us? Or is he, like, doing this because he is nervous to see Ileana?
Both.
Can I tell? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't want to come, I'm not going to make you come. But, okay.
That didn't sound like Tendy talking.
No, it didn't.
If you force him to come, I mean, I guess he didn't have much of a choice, but he's at least like when characters have particular feelings and motives, they can be persuaded.
Well, we'll at least tell Ileana that you looked really cool at the door.
I'm sure she's pretty aware that I'm at least here. I don't know much about the cool part. Anyways, you got about 5 seconds before I close this door. Go ahead and head in.
Time. That's not enough time to get the cart through, though.
The Austin takes it as a challenge and starts.
My hat!
You guys quickly go in, and there is kind of a you can kind of tell there's a bit of a lull, somberness kind of floating around. You don't immediately see the baby griffin kind of just walking around going all around, but you do see one or two people in the courtyard and a couple horses and carts in the stall. You guys are able to find a place close by to park the cart itself, and you are back home.
Prudence is gonna wait for everybody to get out, and she's gonna take the cart further in towards the researcher's place. But I'll do that one if nobody else has anything to do.
Can I come with you to see Victor? I
Yes.
have a sketch.
Well, the Austin will like unload all the stuff they're gonna get to Ileana since she's right next to the gate. Or
Yeah,
And,
and Sin will assist Leofton.
Okay.
Mara's gonna put the horses up.
Okay. So in this case, the order of which things would be unloading the cart of at least the goods to turn into Ileana. Then taking the cart over in the direction of Victor's, which the stables are right next to. So while Poppy and Prudence, so far, go to speak to Victor, Mara is putting the giving the horses some well-deserved space. So we got Leofton and Sin unloading, Prudence there, Prudence and Poppy and Mara. So we've got Tendi. Where are you going?
Tandy wants to go see Beckett.
Okay. We'll go ahead and just continue the initiative order. So Sin and Leofton. You guys unload the cart, probably with the help of everybody else, because at least Prudence and Poppy can't really take the cart until the stuff's unloaded. So
Yeah,
with the majority of you working on it, you guys get the stuff unloaded in pretty short order. At least enough to where the cart there's nothing no longer in the cart, and you begin taking things into Ileana, who Quartermaster Ileana is. She's not busy. She's kind of just sitting there. She's drinking some tea, and notices you all come in. She has an assistant who helps prop the door open for you to allow you not having to open the door every time you bring in armful after armful of stuff. Hello. Welcome back.
hello, Ileana. We have things.
Wonderful. I look after things. She grabs her book.
You also buy the things. He kind of smirks.
Well, if it's pretty heavy, where do you want us to place them?
Not really in much of a county. If you can at least bring them in and load them in, this corner over here, there was sort of there's a cage. Will it all fit in this cage? We can lock it, and then that'll be your possessions. I can probably count them after the procession.
Out of character, how big is the cage?
It'll oddly enough, coincidentally, it'll fit all your stuff.
What?
What?
What are the
Crazy.
chances of this?
like magic?
No, just happy convenience.
And kind of sizes it up.
Yeah, I think that's perfect, actually.
You have you heard what happened?
He also nods as he's loading in his load into the cage.
Yes, I'm sorry to hear what happened.
Yeah, there's well, not only that, but there was another group that they quit. So it's not really great going for the guild so far. But I from the looks of things, you all did rather well. So after we have a moment this afternoon, kind of mourning the loss of Ezekiel and all of them, I'll make sure to after lunch to immediately count this and seek you out for payment.
Okay. Are you doing all right? Grigori's trying to get back with me again. He found out where I work, and although I'm relatively fine here,
it's almost like every time I leave the Drengskaper, he's somewhere and someone's delivering something for me. And that's when you see like the numerous bouquets of flowers behind her. She like barely looks back at him to kind of indicate that that's only a part of it, and that's just been within the last 3 days. So
You should tell him that you've moved on with someone else.
that
Leosin get
Okay.
Leosin gets real stern. Do you want him to stop?
I don't. That's a very threatening tone.
Mm-hmm.
That's just his voice.
I don't. And she looks at you, Poppy. I've told him, like, at least 5 times, but he believes that it is only a matter of time before I come around, and what do I do? I just keep repeating the same thing over and over again?
Where's he at, though?
I mean, it seems like no matter which way I try to leave here, whether I'm spend a moment in the Merchant District, Temple District, Clockwork District, Market District, Lower Zobeck, Upper Zobeck, I try to go somewhere I think he wouldn't be, and he's, if not him, then a messenger is certainly there. And look, I should kind of.
I only have to tell him once.
Prudence lays down a parcel and stands next to Leofston, with her arms crossed, of course. Perhaps you should take an escort. There's a guard that is quite capable. I'm sure he wouldn't mind. We could
Yeah,
ask
he's
him.
really big.
Who?
Ooh, you can ask Sergeant Hendrick.
Tendi has not clued in fully to what's happening here.
Sergeant?
Yes. Sergeant is so nice. Sergeant helps Tendi all the time.
Isn't he's normally the main, the chief, at least guard here at the Drengskaper, right?
All the more reason for him to be your escort. He's very intimidating as the main guard.
Well, I mean, he needs to watch the gate, right?
We can watch the gate.
Well, don't volunteer all of us.
I can watch the gate.
I'm sure
None shall
it's
pass.
just a simple suggestion. We can always ask him for you. You know we're quite fond of you, Ileana.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll give it some thought. Beckett's been at least for the last couple of days was pretty much on his bit for the egg hatching, and so he's actually sent out and prepaying somebody to deliver his supplies and groceries and whatnot from the market into the Drengskaper, and it's quite a convenience, grocery delivery. Most of the times he complains about going to the marketplace and having there be too many people, and all the registers are already, full of people, and you just got to stand there and wait in line. And
and it's like at first when they did self-checkouts not too long ago, nobody used that, but they figured out it's so useful.
well, and some of them take gold only, some of them take copper only, and it's frustrating. It's real frustrating.
And sometimes the gold reader's broken.
Leosin looks extremely confused about this.
Maybe I'll just see if I can have somebody go out and get my own stuff. But your suggestion is valid. Maybe I'll mention it to him. I mean, we're all going to be taking a moment to Morn here in about an hour or so. Maybe I'll catch him before he goes back to guarding the door.
Do they have the deceased? Do they have family in Zobeck?
The who?
The deceased?
I don't know. I didn't really know them all that well. They didn't have much to bring back from their first excursion. And I think that was probably one of the highest contracts that we had as far as monetarily.
Did they take the job because they wanted to prove themselves?
The woman, I can't remember her name, but she was certainly offering quite a bit from what they told me. I had figured and that we would, if they came back, that would be pretty good. But as you guys keep bringing stuff in, she goes, honestly, you guys, how much? What happened? What? I thought you went to just go kill a beast.
Some hobgoblins got in the way.
When the convicts do something, they do it well.
We didn't steal it.
Oh.
No.
I'll make a note of that, Prudence. Well, hobgoblins in the Margreve forest near the Griffin Tower. It sounds like whatever's going on up north in Sibertal, it may not be the only instance of the goblinoids themselves trying to make a last push for things before the winter comes. That was there was another group that was to go to Silvertal, and they that was 6 days ago, and they all of a sudden quit and left town. And so now there's the whole contract, like with them owing gold to at least for what was. It's been a little bit harder of a time. I figured that there wouldn't be anybody quit so quickly.
Perhaps they found something they wanted to keep.
I mean, they didn't even leave yet. Like, they were on their way to leave, and then they just went ahead and just said they quit. Yeah, said they quit, and they left Zobeck without really us being able to get them to get the rest of their dues.
How many groups remain?
Well, there's the convicts, you guys. There's, I guess they're calling themselves the Alpha Boys.
No, joking.
I
don't know. You come up with we'll have a contest to come up with a better name for the group. But that group, and one more, I believe. Now that one quit and one group died, we don't even know what did it. We just know that they didn't make it back.
You have not sent. Well, I suppose you've only heard just this morning. We can talk to Beckett of it.
Well, I will, upon loading the last of this up in the cage, I will lock it up, and I'll keep the key on me, and I will make sure that me and my assistant get this added up and get you your allotted gold. And then, of course, if there's anything you wanted to purchase, just come back and see me.
There is no rush. Take your time to grieve.
As they're loading the last pieces, Leofston puts the split mail, or split that Prudence gave him on the top, and then tapped it and looked at Eliana. I want to buy this one back.
Oh. Doesn't put it in.
I'll make a note.
This one, and he
I'll make a double note.
Thank you.
Alright, well, I'll see you in about an hour, I suppose. I guess everyone's meeting, in the hall, the guild hall.
Thank you. Prudence is gonna head out and take the driver's seat. But as Sin exits, she's going to gesture to him.
Yes, Prudence.
I'd like for you to come with me and Poppy. There's someone I'd like to introduce to you proper.
Okay. Who?
Victor, the researcher. I think you might have a lot to talk about. If you're not busy, but I do think it's worth your time.
I don't have anything to do, I guess. That's fine.
Thank you.
Poppy grabs his hand, and we start walking that way.
Okay. So next up will be Prudence and company. I'll say Mara, you also get the horses. I believe now, according to the chat that I saw barely, there's names for the others now.
Yeah, it's just made them up.
Yeah, she came up with
Thank
names
you.
for everybody that like quit and died, and you
This is
know.
trying to help
Yeah.
you out.
I
I
appreciate
know
it.
how hard it is to DM and come up with names on the spot.
Yeah, I can't. I saw names, but I don't look at the. I try not to look at the chat while I'm doing it. I will make sure to reread, and then we will mourn the losses of Michael, Jim, Pam,
No.
Dwight.
Respect to the office.
All right, Prudence. You, Poppy, and Sin are going to Victor.
Yes.
Okay, I think.
Whoever else wants to come too, it's an open invitation.
Yeah, I'd say Tendy's solo going to meet Beckett real quick. I think we might be able to knock that out real fast.
If anyone wants to come, they can come.
I would like to talk to Beckett.
Okay. Well, then we'll.
Yeah,
we'll-
You can do yours
If
first
we-
then, and
Yeah.
then I'll.
Yep.
If we want to leave money with Ileana, should we have done that already, or do you want us to do that in chat?
Now, we're gonna wrap up this this scene with Victor and then the scene with Beckett, and then we'll briefly talk about downtime, and we'll handle the downtime in between sessions. Like, because remember, we didn't want to like go through everything in
Right.
a session anymore. So, you guys are at Victor's laboratory, or his research room. Research.
Prudence
Center.
pulls the cart up right to the front because she's not really sure where this shit needs to go. So she hops out and gestures for the two, at least, that are with her, and then raps on his door.
Is there something here that you want to bring inside? I can carry.
I'm
Wait.
not quite sure where he wants it, so let's wait for him to come out.
And it's much more dramatic if we open the stuff
What
in front of him.
what is more dramatic?
Prudence
Your
startles.
entrance.
Hello, researcher Victor.
Hello, welcome back. It seems you guys have made your way from the forests. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you'd follow me.
Sure.
She leads him to the cart.
He
My
closes.
name is Poppy.
Hello, Poppy. It's
I'm
a
so
pleasure.
sorry. This is Poppy. Honey Blossom, and this is Sin. Sin, you don't have a last name. I don't have one either, technically. This is Sin. This is Poppy.
We could give you a last name. You guys could be honorary honey blossoms.
It does have a nice ring to it.
Wonderful. I'm Victor, the guild's researcher for creatures and other things of particular science. But he kind of looks. He looks.
I've made your tea. But you were pretty busy.
Oh yeah. Thank you. It's rather it was rather good tea. Yes. He kind of stumbles over his words as he looks at the cart and he goes, "I see you have kept the cart in good condition."
It was quite a trouble. Not that the cart was a trouble. The cart was very useful. It was almost stolen, but we kept it safe.
Oh, stolen by who?
Hobgoblins. I
Hobgoblins.
wanted to say kobolds. It was hobgoblins. They were doing raids in the camp.
My word.
She unceremoniously just lifts the trap and shows him the dead parts inside.
Ta-da! Dramatic.
My word, that is a large creature.
Yes, certain men, they often cut it up for us.
Because it could not fit, right?
It was far too big. Oh, Poppy! She gestures at you.
I made a sketch.
It's very beautiful.
She opens the book, shows him, gives him the paper.
This is what it looked like when it was alive.
I wrote down some notes on the margins about like what we knew that it did.
Very impressive. Thank you very much. This is.
I named it George.
But that is not the name of the creature, right?
No, it's a Gabaldi. A Gabali. A Gabagoo.
There's rather lots of G's. Hold on. He takes a pen out of his pocket and just kind of. You got to forgive spelling, but I think I've got them all. I will.
It's only the one.
Well, which one?
The Gabali. It's Gbahali. Gabali.
Okay.
I think I spelled it right.
He circles it. You did. He circles it and goes. All right. I appreciate this. I will check and cross-reference from my own personal notes and the libraries of Zobeck, and I'll see what I could be able to find on this. He kind of carefully fold. Can I fold this, or is this?
You can fold it.
It's very well drawn. There's even you even managed to get the cross section where I guess the head is split from neck and the spine. It's
I did some like cross hatching to really emphasize it.
and there's even a key and a scale next to it. It's remarkable. This creature was that big.
It was so big. See, I drew myself as the scale. That's how big it was. That's me picking up a stone right next to it. It's a little pebble. We found it.
Well, I will have a discussion with Beckett and see about perhaps the more that we know about these creatures, then perhaps if anything were to be brought back, I think you would need a bigger
boat.
A bigger boat? No, it's a cart. Why did you say boat?
Yeah.
You made me say boat. You're very persuasively there. How you were talking, puppy.
Prudence, she tucks her hair behind her ear and rocks on her heels. If you don't mind, I do have 2 other important bits for you. I don't want to keep my companions over long. She sort of steps beside Sin and holds her hands out, like, towards him, like, as if she's presenting him.
Oh, Prudence!
What?
You can't just present people like biology projects to other people.
Oh my god! Sin...
Ta-da!
Sin has a few maladies, but I remember when we were last talking, you mentioned where you were from, and Sin is from there, and I thought perhaps you 2 could talk.
Kind of looks at Sin and goes, you have lived in Krakow?
I guess that's where I'm from. That's where I was when I was in. It's a long story, but I guess I'll just show you. Sin, his appendages come out from his back and raise into the air.
You're just out there in the courtyard, out in the open?
Yep.
Okay. My. Kind of takes a moment to look and silently think to himself.
I don't remember what happened.
I would suspect not. There was a moment of time of great desperation and ordeal in the Krakow War. I am from Heidelberg myself, not too far from the capital, but I have heard story. It is not painful.
Actually, I deal with the pain with whiskey and ale.
As they're talking, Prudence sort of takes Poppy's hand and leads them away so they can have some privacy. But she's close enough that when they're done, Victor can come find her for the third thing to talk about.
You start unloading Garibaldi parts.
Mm-hmm. She just wants to give the two guys some privacy to talk.
All right. Will, I can't say I'm 100% familiar, but I am at least familiar enough of stories and such that have passed through the village that I was born in. Perhaps at some point in time you can come by and I can at least let you know what I know.
Okay, and this is not the extent of it. There's a lot more, but we can talk later about it, I guess.
Sure. I don't. A lot of my former life was left behind in Heidelberg. I'm sure there was probably more comprehensive notes, but I could at least go off of memory from what I've at least encountered. So, just make sure you let me know when you are stopping by. Perhaps we can discuss over a warm fire in these colder nights and some hot tea.
That sounds good. Thank you.
I saw the cuts from the beast. Are there parts that you have brought in other than just the large hunks of meat and bone?
I brought what I thought was important. I'm not sure because I'm not familiar with this beast. So,
Is he mentioning like where the head is?
well,
Yeah, he's like looking.
yeah, he would have harvested meat as well as bone, and then of course Leofston's head. But then he would have also harvested the not not Leofston's head. His
He deserves it. He's stinky.
The hell you're just talking about over there?
his he would have harvested any organs that he thought would have been,
Okay.
Yeah,
one thing to keep in mind whenever I think we did one roll for the pelt itself, or at least for the hide of the creature. So keep in mind there are certainly, if there are specific things you're wanting, even if the guide that I use doesn't quite have them, I can come up with some DCs for them. So if one thing, if this is going to be something we do often enough, just make sure that if you are wanting to get certain specific things, it would only mean more gold and more precise things than just here's basically just a refrigerated thing, but in sections. But I understand what you mean. I'm pretty sure most of the stuff is still kept well intact, so you'll be able to get what's needed.
For the purposes of this, we could just say that this is just for the purposes of RP and anything in the future, because I am planning to. This is going to be his big trade. So.
Okay. Well, yes. I believe we have a unfortunate meeting here in about less than an hour, about 45 minutes. But if If you think you can get this all unloaded, it perhaps might be best to leave the cart here, since it is keeping relatively well. That's also good to know. The first,
If there's anything that you if you have a prior knowledge, I guess, of something that you would like to me to retrieve for you, I'm planning to get I guess better instruction.
certainly. I'll at least start by filing this sketch away and looking at a few things before the meeting. Perhaps afterwards I could take a closer look at the individual parts. And then if you're staying around town, then perhaps just let me know and we can find time to discuss.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Your name was Sin, yes?
Then, yes.
Perfect. Victor, again, pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure.
Prudence said she had one more thing for me.
I'll get her.
Prudence is leaning against the cart and talking with Poppy.
Sin just turns around and goes, Prudence, you're up!
Tag team.
Okay.
Poppy, you don't need to attend if you have other business.
I don't have any other business. I don't think so, at least.
I mean, if you're sure, you can come if you want, but I mean, if you're busy, like...
It
You can-
sounds like you really don't want me to come, so I think I'm gonna come.
She furrows her brows at you, but just it's like, all right. No, that is completely fine. There is no problem with you coming with me.
Good. Follow.
Victor?
Yes.
Prudence reaches into her satchel and she hands him a book. And this is the book that she transcribed by hand from Moss.
This is, did you purchase this? You find, it looks like handwritten.
Yes, I transcribed that for you. I have an offer if you'd like to hear it. I mean, the book is not an offer. The book is free. You can have that. I made it for you. When we were in the Margreve forest, we met a man named Moss, and I talked to him, and I brokered potentially contact for the two of you to talk if you'd be more interested in maybe getting some field experience. I would, of course, attend and keep you safe. On the venture there.
You mean, like, leaving the Drunks cover?
She nods.
Hmm. It is worth a good think.
Yes, you don't have to give me an answer now. Of course, I know I just dropped it on you. But that book is yours, free.
It did.
No strings attached.
No, you handed me the book. You did not drop it. I'm confused. Well, what is the way you speak sometimes is very hard to understand.
She just stares at him. I'm sorry.
You did nothing wrong.
Prudence starts looking for Poppy. She's panicking.
I think she talks very well.
I'm quite succinct. I can hear everything as far as what is being said. Just the way that the things are being said is very. Perhaps it is hard to different areas, different translation.
Have you considered that maybe you're the strange one?
No, Victor isn't strange. He's wonderful.
I've been told once or twice that what I do is particularly odd, but I don't tend to pay criticisms of those who have inferior intelligence any sort of mind. But Then it-
stand there awkwardly.
Then it dawns on him that he just basically dissed everybody like simultaneously. I will certainly consider the offer. I'll read this book. Look at the. I have time with the next couple of days. Hopefully, you're not leaving so soon. We will figure it out. And he sort of like backs up and starts backing up towards his door.
Prudence does the same thing. All right, that's good then. See you later.
Great. Yes. The later we see you, about is the funeral. Goes inside.
Can I roll for vibes? What's going on here?
Sure. I'll let you roll an insight check.
Please. I have 2 points of inspiration. I will use it if I
You can only use one.
Almost a 17.
You can only use
one.
There you go. I'll say for recording purposes, you all got inspiration for your wonderful
Technically.
stories.
Yeah, technically I have 3.
Hey.
I have like I get a point of inspiration for like 7 days or something.
Yeah. So let's say you're at 2, but like you can't go more than
Yeah,
being
I
full.
know. I'm just saying.
What are vibes?
Poppy.
I rolled a 1.
Poppy, you kind of are like a tennis match watcher, watching them go back and forth. But in the end, you understood every single word that was being said, but the way that they were saying it was weird. You are probably the equivalent of the 1995 hit movie Clueless.
Maybe I'm the strange one.
Strange.
Well, normal, let's go.
Yeah, Prudence again just takes your hand, but this time she's dragging you away.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Poppy weighs like 30 pounds.
Okay. We'll go over to Tendi. You search a little bit as those who are joining seem to make their way back towards the center of the courtyard. Tendi, you spend a little bit of time while they are doing that to search for Beckett. And sure enough, you find him in one of the unclaimed rooms that is over on the right-hand side, not too far from where the cages are. It's not in a cage, but it's one of the rooms close by. If you recall, there was rooms that kind of had they went up and there was 2 rows of the rooms. But nearby one of those rooms is towards the front is just a room that is you see a hay trail outside of this room. The door is of course closed, but you get told that that's where Beckett was last seen, and when you go, you see that Beckett is sort of sitting in a pile of hay with a very meager looking hatchling griffin. Oh, Tendi, you're back. Hey.
Oh, it's so cute.
Oh, yeah. You want to come say hi to Heather?
Hello, Heather.
I got her checked out this morning. The doctor of animals, Lisa Druid, said that it was a female. So, who am I to say otherwise?
What?
It's a girl. It's a girl griffin. Anyways, I heard you're. I presume the rest of you are back.
Yes, everyone is back and safe. How is Beckett?
Bit I'm quite at a loss right now. Luckily Heather here's been keeping me pretty preoccupied, but surely if you've been back for any length of time, you've probably heard about what's happened recently, the recent news.
Yes.
I'm not-
Sergeant Hendrick is telling everyone when these ones is coming back.
Well, I suggest this probably something I'll have to think on a little bit more tomorrow after a full night's sleep and probably a clearer head to be able to figure that out. But for now, I got to arrange for a proper stay for this for this here new addition to the drinks cupper.
Can I retcon something real quick?
Sure.
Can I say that Tendi went to their room first,
Sure.
and they have something behind their back?
Tindy.
It's a knife.
Tin-
What do you have? Knife.
no, we don't want. I'm not hungry. He notices. He goes, are you okay there, Tindy? You have something behind your back?
Tendi pulls out their giant plush owl bear that they won. That is like Tendi sized.
Okay, so he could kind of see it behind your back, like.
He kind of knows that it's there.
Oh.
And they waddle it over to Beckett and Heather and go,
Tendi has gift for Heather.
Oh, that's rather nice of you. Did you get that while you were out?
No, Tendi got when you got Heather
Oh.
at the festival. And, sometimes griffins get sad if they is alone and sleeping, and so maybe this one can be for Heather.
Oh, I never quite thought about whether they get lonely or not. You see Heather kind of take a few steps off of his lap, and kind of get close to it and kind of like look at it and dip its head, and it is quite naked, also like Tendi. There are some bits of small feathers that will eventually grow, and its beak kind of tugs slightly at one of the arms, but not enough to rip it off, and just kind of getting used to it.
Tendi rolled to imprint on this griffin, and I got a 16. Tendi loves this thing with their entire life.
There you go.
And Tendi puts the big owl bear down.
Kind of scratches its feet on the stone and kicking back some hay, and hops up once or twice and flaps their drumstick wings, and then sort of you set it down, and it kind of jumps on top of it and begins to sort of play/lay on it.
Oh, Heather is so cute.
How was hey, perhaps maybe a bit of better distraction would be you made it back your second adventure. What happened? Perhaps perhaps it may be better to start getting everything properly prepared for the call. We're supposed to be meeting up here in about 30 minutes.
Oh, yes.
Then afterwards you can tell me all about it. Perhaps that'll keep my mind off of things. I'd rather not think about any of the bad stuff before tomorrow. That's only have enough room in my noggin for a couple of different emotions, and that both of the bad news that I've gotten today seem to probably correlate more than two.
Tendi just puts their arms out.
Oh, sure. And he kind of comes in and gives you a bit of a hug, little light tap on the back.
Tendi squeezes really hard, and it probably doesn't feel like much.
Oh, you got me. All right. Well, I'm sure I'll see everybody here in just a moment. We'll do the thing, and we'll go from there.
Yes, Tendi will tell everyone that Heather is healthy.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll have to make sure to spend some time afterwards to make sure that the accommodations are at least suitable for her to be here for now. We don't want to keep her in a cage, of course, and we don't want her to be able to fly away once she's able to do that. So, think we've got somebody who's coming to be able to be not a keeper, but more of a trainer of sorts. Say that they've had experience before with with Griffin's, one of the Griffin riders, in fact. Well,
Ooh.
retired Griffin rider, but nonetheless, she's had a remarkable resume, so. And she interviewed really well.
What is this one's strongest suit?
Probably studded leather, if I'm not mistaken. No, she's raised the couple of griffins that the Griffin Riders have raised for about the last 2 decades. So, yeah, I think we're in good hands with her. Sorry, Ishay is getting to me allergies. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. Alright, I should probably be getting up here and getting things ready.
Okay.
Thank you for the...
Tendy will go back out.
No, he stops it for a second and goes, thank you for the gift. That was very thoughtful of you. Sure, looks like Heather already appreciates it quite a bit.
Yes, good. Tendy cannot have when Tendy goes out, so Heather can have instead.
Very thoughtful. Alright, and he kind of extends his finger for you to grab as he goes, let's head out and start to get everyone together, I suppose.
Yes, Tendy absolutely walks with him.
Okay. As you guys, as the afternoon goes on, you hold the ceremony in remembrance of... Poppy, you want to give me the names?
Carter, Tanner, and Elijah.
Carter, Tanner, and Elijah.
They were such good friends to us.
Such an amazing boy band.
It was
It
a
That was a
terrible,
side
terrible loss.
it was explained that oh God, what was her name?
Ileana,
No,
Prudence,
no, the
Let
woman,
me look at the
Tenga.
Paulina,
Helena. It was
Hortense.
yeah. So Beckett obviously mentions that Polina, she came seeking help, and that they offered their help as best as they could, and unfortunately, as part of it, there is a common thing to look out for is to know when something is out of your control or something that is an insurmountable task. He obviously has regrets of not training something like that sooner to all of you. He doesn't want this to be necessarily a lesson, but more of a, like, we need to learn from my mistake of not understanding the terms better. He hasn't, he heard word from Polina that they had perished, but she is not. She was distraught, and there wasn't anybody around group-wise, so she had left to go seek other possible solutions. And that the family itself may have gotten a little bit smaller. It also has gotten a little bit bigger with Heather. And that you all are family. And you do, even though you've just started out, it's only really been a month. It's time, in times like this, it is much easier to give up and to go your own ways. But just as much as they rely, or you might rely on Drengskapper, or the Drengskapper and family rely on you all as well. And that it was much better than transcribed. So
Dry eye in the house.
probably not. You probably heard Sergeant honking his huge honking nose into a handkerchief at some point.
Wait, does Ileana go search for him afterwards? Do we see that?
That is a great question. So here's what I'm going to
Tendy
do.
will roll perception.
Here's what I'll do, and well, I'll ask you guys. You let me know, because we're already at a little bit, or almost at 3 hours at this point. So in the other game we have like a Q&A. We clearly need to have some things that maybe I wasn't able to get to and cover today. But the point being is that obviously there are still some contracts that are out. Only a couple. It is explained to you at least that the winter months are coming, and obviously that means far less traveling, which also means far less encounters and requests for contracts, for things to be taken care of. And so he says it's quite common for the winter to kind of slow down in terms of this sense. Do you guys prefer to either A, have a Q&A thread, and then or a Q&A thing, and then also we have a different one for the downtime stuff, and of course any other RPs you guys want to run? Or would you prefer to get the downtime stuff done, and then we just basically go into another session like next week where we go, okay, here's what here's what and go from there?
The second
I
one?
realize,
Yeah, I agree.
I realize it's a lot to do for text-wise between two games, so.
Agreed. I think the next session should cover that. In my
Yeah.
opinion.
Okay. That'll be good. So, okay, so yeah, we'll go from there. I will get that stuff prepped, and nice work, you guys. By the way, not recording.